Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. Give a shout out as usual. Just say where you are. Hi Rivka. Hi Naomi. Hi Gizzo. Just a quick hello and where you are. It's just nice for everyone to know where they are in the world. Israel. Okay. Oh, my mum's here. Hi, mum. Okay, we've got Toronto. Hi, Yocheved. Manchester, New York, London, Dallas. Isn't the world just amazing how we can all sit all over the whole world and just everyone be sitting with each other? Wow, quick. Antwerp, Brooklyn, Switzerland, Jerusalem, Virginia, Manchester.
I wonder who's got the coldest weather.
Yeah, probably the most miserable weather is Manchester. That's always a good bet. Okay, so welcome everyone. We've been looking forward. This is now becoming like a a thing in Judaism. When you have three things in a row, we call it a chazaka, and then it means like you have to do it. So I'm hoping, I'm enjoying this very much, and from the feedback we're getting, everyone else is enjoying it. So this is great. So welcome. Number one, I want to introduce Jo. Jo, give a shout out.
Hi.
This is Jo. She's my little sister, and she's also a super put together person who's going to be making this thing move cleanly. Josh is this is Josh. Josh, give a bigger thumbs up. Josh was the mastermind behind the infrastructure of the school when we built it a few years ago. He doesn't work for me full time anymore, but he's still here, very much involved, and he's going to be on the back end answering questions for everybody. Rivka as well. They just had a baby. Rivka is Josh's husband. She's completely involved in the school, 100%. She's going to be in the background a little bit, but she's not going to be on the camera because she's dealing with her brand new little baby. Okay, so let's jump in without further ado. Oh, Rivka is there. Hi, Rivka. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly start with a couple of transformations from this week that popped out. Well, the first thing I'm going to actually do is just show everybody. I don't know if you're in the school or not in the school, but this is just something that I'm super, super proud of. Is on when people complete the school. This webinar is not a big sales pitch at all. We're going to do a huge amount of learning, B'ezrat Hashem. But just to show you the feedback that we've gotten, 88% of our completed students have given our school a 5 out of 5, and another 11% giving it 4 out of 5, and then this person gave us a 3 out of 5. They're not going to be saying much anymore. We dealt with that. But otherwise, we got 88% of our students have given us a 5 out of 5, which I thought was really, really impressive. Okay, so Hevid Kleinblatt she's joined our AMP program, and I just want to show you what she achieved in just a few weeks. This is what she began at. Okay, pictures like that. And a few weeks later, this is what she was doing for us. I think that's an amazing transformation from this with a Rebel T6 to this and this and this, also with a Rebel T6. So a big thumbs up to Yocheved, fantastic. And also another one of our students, Yisrael Sugarman, who's also moved into the AMP. I just want to show you when he began, this is what he was shooting, this and this. And when he finished, he was taking pictures like this and this. And I just think, just again, another big kudos, again with the same camera. So another big kudos out to Yisrael and to all of our students who are just consistently doing amazing things. Okay, so without any further ado, one last thing, just to mention about our, I need to make us a little bit smaller. Sorry, Joe, one sec. There we go. Two more things. In regards to our sales, we always do a giveaway. We are doing a 50% for 24 hours. And because we can't afford to give away so many masterclasses, we've limited the amount of masterclasses, unfortunately, to only 18 courses that we're going to be allowing at 50%. So make sure you cash in on that. We'll talk more about that in the break. Otherwise, one last thing is I'm going to offer a poll now, because we've got some feedback that people were getting a bit annoyed by the questions being asked. So we wanted to ask you if you would like us to turn off the chat. I'm going to say for each section, we're going to give you the option to turn off the chat. So please click a yes or a no, and we will act accordingly. We'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. Oh, even, no, 68% no. Oh, it's going back. 40% yes. No. Anybody who polls is gonna. Oh, it looks like we're gonna keep. One sec. Would you like to turn the? No, it looks like we're gonna keep the chat on. We're gonna finish up in a few moments. It looks like we're gonna keep the chat on, and we are going to keep the chat on. 1 second. Why doesn't it come up with the stats? It should have come up with the stats. Or maybe I forgot to press it. Anyway, okay, so we're going to keep the chat on. Great, as you wish. Okay, so let's jump in. Again, I apologize if we don't get to your pictures. We will not get to about 80% of the pictures. We got a huge amount of uploads, but I did sift through them quickly to try and pull out the ones that we're going to learn the most from. I am going to go quickly, but we are going to send you the replay to the webinar. So watch out for that. And it makes sense maybe to take a pen and paper and to try and keep up. And like I said, you will get the replay, so don't worry if you miss anything. You can watch it again and take more note of it. Okay, anything, Joe? Any comments? Anything to say before we jump in?
No, none. Go for it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay. This is cute. This is immediately very distracting. And one thing that I also hate in pictures is this kind of fencing in the back, okay? Lines pull our eye. Lines really, our eye is attracted to sharpness, and any kind of line has an element of sharpness, so it distracts. So if you blurred this out, if you're using a very wide aperture and you blurred this out, it would make much less of a difference. But as it is, it does detract from the image. Also, this leaf stuck on his head as well, and I would probably go for a crop like that, and then I would edit that out later. Okay, this is cute. This is nice. Good angle. I love these leading lines. So, like I was saying, we have these beautiful leading lines. Always very, very adds a lot of power. Remember, we've got 3 primary shapes: circles, squares, and triangles. Triangles have an energy to them. Circles have a more like passive, relaxed feeling, and squares are something in the middle. But these leading lines always create triangles, which always lead to a lot of energy. The one kind of, I don't want to call it a qualm, but maybe the one criticism I have here is that we really need to brighten the faces. You can't do, whoever this is, who is this? Mark Duval. Hi, Mark. You can't do much better than this without flash. This is the kind of picture that would really gain a lot from having flash. What do people think of the stats for this picture? Let's just put a poll up very quickly.
Shmuel, will you just read them out? Because I think a lot of people won't be able to read them.
Yeah, so the stats are a 1/320th of a second at 2.8 at 200 ISO. Good, bad, or perfect. Good, bad, or perfect. Bearing in mind that Mark, I'm assuming, is using a 1.8 lens. Okay, we're going to close up the poll in about 10 seconds. And I've worked it out, so you will see the results finally. I worked out how to do that. Good, bad, or perfect. Okay, we're going to end the poll. 3, 2, 1. End the poll. Okay, that's the stat. I would give this, I would say perfect. I would say perfect. To be at 200 ISO, that's always a good idea. 2.8 when we're dealing with a bunch of kids, although you probably could have gotten away with a wider aperture, I don't think you've got anything to gain. And a 3/20th of a second is a great speed. That's fine. So I would actually give you a perfect on that one. Okay, onward. Now, this is a great thing to learn here. We spoke about this last week or 2 weeks ago. This train track is a lovely feature, but because it's intersecting with our subject, it's distracting. So what we really needed to do, Rivka, is if you walked over this way a little bit, then his head would kind of be over here and the train would be in its own place, and that would have made a big difference. Okay, so instead of it adding like a real kind of dynamic energy to the picture, it's actually detracting a little bit from our subject. Okay, this was a great image, a load of energy. Elio, you did well to get this. I looked as well before you shot in manual, which is impressive. I would say that on the fly, this is very good. The light on the baby's face is not very flattering at all. This is the kind of light that we are basically trying to avoid like the plague. But the fact that you're so in close, zoomed out as wide as possible, I think is fantastic. So there's a lot of good energy here. And because of the energy, the fact that the light is so terrible isn't such a big deal. Okay, this is beautiful. Sarah, well done. Okay, stats, good, bad, or perfect. Let's reset the poll. Let's do this again. Oh, not that one. Excuse me. Everybody, what do you think here? Good, bad, or perfect? We have a 1,600th of a second at f2.8 at 800 ISO. I'm assuming that Sarah is using a 1.8 lens. I'm assuming. What do people think? Good, bad, or perfect? We're going to finish off 3, 2, 1. How do people say? So in my opinion, 1 second, excuse me. No. Sorry. In my opinion, these stats are not perfect because you don't need an 800 ISO. And you've been stung. Look, you can see basically nowadays the cameras are so good that 800 ISO isn't a problem. But it's a good idea to not get into that into the habit of using such a high ISO. To have been at 400 ISO would have given you an 800th of a second, which would have been completely adequate. So I'll give that a good. The stats are good. And the aperture could have also been a little bit wider. Again, you wouldn't have gained that much. One thing here that is slightly distracting is the fact that our subject's head is a very similar tone to the background, which means that we don't have a good separation from subject and background, which is always very good. And I would also probably crop in a teeny bit more. I would like to really add maybe a little bit of room on this side over here, something like that. But otherwise, really, I was being very hard on you, because I think it really is a beautiful picture. But those little things that I said, I also give you a big kudos on the fact that this grass in the foreground adds a lovely amount of depth, giving a frame to the foreground, especially when the frame is of the same color and a similar texture to the background, like it is here. We've got the green here and the green here. Adds a lovely depth, and it adds a very lovely unifying feel to the image. Okay. This needs a lot more contrast, a huge amount more contrast. We can even do it a little bit in Lightroom, but we need a huge amount more contrast, and we don't need so much. We don't need so much picture. We can get away with with something a bit more like that. Okay. So here you've used your flash. Who's this? San Mati. You've used your flash. It looks like you use flash on camera. Flash on camera is, yeah, you have. Flash on camera is basically a big no-no. Okay, we want to get away from flash on camera with everything we have. Flash is fantastic. Flash on camera is not fantastic. So I would be having a flash off camera coming from this side, giving a light on this side of the gentleman's face. I see why you've cropped like this. Really, the energy of the picture. This is a great example of where the energy of the picture and the details of the picture contradict each other. So ideally, the energy of the picture really lends itself to a crop like this, because we've got energy moving in this direction. However, cutting off his shoulder like that is a bit of a problem. So you have to make a compromise. Sometimes this happens when the details of the picture or the objects in the picture contradict the best option for the composition. Okay, this is good. Lot of nice energy here. I think that the edit, Henny, is a little bit heavy. I think also maybe we could have darkened this area a little bit and had her pop out a little bit more. Also, I think I would probably have kept her feet in a little bit, but I definitely like the energy that the web of the climbing frame adds. I think that's very good. So well done. Okay. Okay, Aviva. So this is cute. A few things we could do here. Now, you've done really well. I like your logo, by the way. You've done really well having everybody, having everyone form into groups. What I would do, though, this is the problem, okay? We don't want people overlapping each other. So I would probably have moved mum and dad over to here and moved this boy and the little girl a little bit this way, moved them over there and moved them over there. Now, what I would also be doing with each of these groups is making them much more interesting. So I would be having, for example, this girl leaning her elbow on her brother, this boy on this side here maybe folding his arms, and the other boy with his hand on his shoulder, and their mum and dad maybe hugging, or but something more. As it is, they're kind of just standing there, one leg up, one leg down on the set. Make them more interesting. As it is, it's like a great beginning, but I think it could have gone a lot further. You could have posed them a lot more. It could be a lot more interesting, the pose. I could show you quickly. 1 second. If I bring up my website here quickly, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Using stairs like this is a great idea. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about in regards to how to pose on the stairs like that. If I can find the picture, 1 minute. Here we go. This is a good example. Okay, this time I didn't put them into groups, but you can see each person has been very purposefully posed, and it's just a very interesting picture. And I've been very, very particular to make sure that everybody has their own space. Okay, you could go through my again. This is also a similar idea. My friend Tom Baton's children. You could go through the pictures on my website, schmooldiamond.com, and have a look at that kind of idea. But that would add a huge kind of oomph to the picture, a lot more attitude. Okay,
Shmuel, good photo. Someone's just asked, what focus point would you use for that image? If you go back to the previous note.
It doesn't matter. It's a good question, but it really doesn't matter because you're zoomed out and you're quite far back. So that gives you quite a long depth of field. So it really doesn't matter. But if you really were to push me, ideally you should be shooting, probably focusing on people more on the middle area, but it really wouldn't make much of a difference. But good question, whoever asked that. Okay, this is cute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what do we think of the stats of this picture? Oh, not that one, excuse me. Okay, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I want to do this again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stats of this picture. This is a good thing to learn from. We've got 1,000 per second at f4 at 1600 ISO, shot at 80 millimeters. So I'm probably going to assume that f4 is the widest aperture. So good, bad, or perfect. Good, bad, or perfect. We're going to finish off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So everyone went bad. I'm wondering why that is. I think they're actually kind of perfect. I think they're really perfect. I don't know why only 3% said perfect. Reason being, let's say f4 is the widest they can shoot. At 1600 ISO, I know it's quite high, but that gives us 1,000th of a second. We've got this little girl jumping up and down, so it makes sense to give ourselves a very quick shutter speed. So I would probably be tempted to say perfect. Okay, I would probably have gotten down a little bit lower to have squeezed the angle and made it a little bit more dynamic. Okay, this is a beautiful picture by Chava Kugel. Chava's one of my favorite students. Stats, in my opinion, are perfect, absolutely perfect, 2.2. I'm going to take this picture into Lightroom and I'm going to do a classic portrait edit to this picture. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Joe's going to put up one of our deals that we have. We have a class called Meditations in Lightroom, which is basically me going, I think it's something like 60 edits And it's really a fabulous way of learning how to use Lightroom, just seeing again and again and again. And like we said, we got 50% off that, so cash in on that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do, in regards to overall editing, I think if I put the contrast up, it's going to make her skin a little bit white, but I think that's okay. Okay, now we're going to go immediately into our local adjustments. And as everyone knows who's doing the course, to do a skin soften, this is what we do. We do -50 texture and -25 for clarity or something along those lines. And now we're just going to go over her skin, which is just going to give us this lovely, like, silky smooth effect. Be aware also, even when the skin is not like bad or rough or whatever, doing this kind of evens out the light as well. So it's not just about the texture of the skin, it's also about the light. Be very, very careful to not go over lines. Okay, so these lines here, I'm not clicking there, those are called the labial lines. We don't go over those lines. We just do, you don't even need to do so much there. Definitely don't go over the nostrils. Okay.
Shmuel, does it matter? Someone's just asked about her head being cut off.
So that's a good question. In my opinion, the rule of heads being cut off, that's a great question, is if you have converging lines, which means they're coming towards each other, what happens is in your mind's eye, the head gets, that arc gets completed. Now, if you were to cut off the line, for example, let's just say a guy was wearing a hat, yeah, like this, and you were to cut off the frame here. Now, these lines are not converging. So in your mind's eye, the hat would appear to be ridiculously big. Joe, you get what I said there?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it would look to be ridiculously big. So the rule is to cut off a head. If we've got converging lines, then our mind's eye completes the arc and it ends up being fine. Now, this is doubly fine because really the edge of the picture is this. This is our picture. Everything else is just a frame when we're thinking about it graphically. Okay, now this is looking really beautiful. I don't think we need to go any further with the eyes. I think that Hannah did a good job with the eyes as it is. I am going to just add a little bit more clarity on the eyebrows, okay, just to bring out the features. Clarity is a great tool to just emphasize the features. Now I'm going to use clarity to emphasize the line in the middle of her lips, and then I'm going to create a new pin. I'm going to get rid of my clarity. I'm going to bump up the saturation. Ladies, this is why you wear lipstick, because saturated lips are beautiful, okay? There we go. And I think I'm going to finish off with a vignette. I might crop a teeny weeny little bit closer. Remember, cropping in close gives us the two eyes. Does anybody remember what two eyes it gives us? Anybody want to write on the chat? What are the two eyes we get from cropping in close? The two eyes. Remember, we've learned this, everyone. Joe, you know what the two eyes are?
No, but I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah. Do we see any? Do we get? I'll give you another second.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, intimacy and intensity.
Well done.
There's three eyes. What's the third eye, Chava? Excellent, Chava. You won the prize there. Intimacy, intensity, interest. Very nice. Okay, yeah, good. I hear that. Maybe we'll change. Okay, good. So let's just have a look where we went from to. Went from here to here. From here to here. Big difference. Quite quick. And just so everybody should know, because a lot of people have asked me a lot of times, how do I flick from before to after, before to after? And it is, I don't know if you can see, it's this button over here.
What's it called?
It's I don't know if it's the back flash or I think it's the front flash, the front slash. I'm not sure, but it's the button that's above the enter button on my computer. So anyway, okay, well done. Okay, I think we're just going to keep going. This now, just a quick rule that we can learn from here is it would be better if we put them on this side. Why? Because our eye goes from up to down, just like water goes from a high place to a low place. Our eye goes up to down. So when we've got two people like this, the energy is moving in this direction. So it would have made sense to have cropped them being on the left side of the frame. Okay, onward. Bit distracting. Background is very distracting here. It really does. It's not a good background, especially with this pole here and this concrete thing over here. I think, well, there's a lot of things we could have done here. Zooming in, a wider aperture. There's a lot needs to be worked out here, Rachel. But I do like the pose. I definitely like the pose, and I like the fact that you got this little boy turned in, and this little boy turned in as well, and a nice little triangle over here. So well done. Okay, this is a big problem light-wise. The rule of backgrounds is, anybody want to tell me the rule of backgrounds very quickly? I'm going to say it anyway. Go and see if you can. What are the two rules of backgrounds? Anybody have to wait for a second, I think, because the lag.
The delay. There's a few seconds delay.
Yeah. Rule of backgrounds. Comparable exposure. Yep. And similar exposure, and ideally a different color. Okay, but that's a bonus. But comparable exposure, so we can see here, having this very bright water in the background, it's not a comparable exposure, and the light on their face has become very very dodgy, to coin an English phrase. Okay, this is very cute. Unfortunately, Yehuda, we've just missed the focus. Can see the focus is in the background now. To miss the focus by this much is generally a problem. What makes this a real problem is that the focus has really latched onto a very sharp, a very textural part of the image. And like we said earlier, is lines really pull the eye. Sharp lines pull the eye. So not only are her eyes not sharp, but what is very sharp and very attractive is pulling us away from the subject. So this, in my opinion, although it's like close to being a fantastic picture, is actually for the trash, unfortunately. That's the kind of picture I think that if you were to give that to a client, it would hurt them more than it would give them pleasure. That's my thoughts on it. It could be that I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's a good thing to know that if a picture is very beautiful, but it's got something quite obviously wrong with it, it can actually cause a lot of like I don't want to say pain, but what's the word, Joe? Discomfort, not discomfort. Like it can annoy the client. Okay. So okay, this is Sarah's picture. These steps, although it works out quite nicely, I think you've done some nice Photoshop, some nice Lightroom here. I would go all out here with the radial tool and give a really like light grey, kind of like a misty color, but coming right over. Otherwise, it's a little bit too much. And these bubbles, it's very rare that you can actually use bubbles, like physically actually do it and make it look good. The best way of doing bubbles is an overlay in Photoshop. Okay, this is nice. Just be very careful. We've got energy moving in this direction. This is a little bit superfluous. I think we could do with a little bit more room over here. I do want to bring your attention to the ugly factor in this picture. Okay, Joe, what would you give this texture here as an ugly factor? How ugly do you think this is?
On a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 was the most ugly.
10 is beautiful. 10 is beautiful.
Maybe like 1.5.
Or 1.5, that's how I would probably have given it like a 2.5. But just remember, when you have ugly graphics in your picture, it makes your picture ugly. Simple as that. So our job is to taste the graphics. I say this to all my students, don't look at things, look at graphics. So like, for example, if you were to ask generally people, are trees beautiful? Yeah, I think 100 out of 100 people basically say yes. But look at tree trunks, like we've discussed before. Yeah, most tree trunks are not beautiful. They're far from beautiful. So when you're thinking about a tree as a thing, then it's beautiful. But when you start being really like analyzing and thinking it in regards to graphics, then you'll see that in fact it's actually not beautiful, and it's better to leave it out most of the time. Okay, this is very cute. This is lovely. However, this is a beautiful, beautiful image indoors. You could definitely have done with a high ISO. The fact that you've got a sharp picture is very, very lucky. At an 80th of a second, very, very lucky. But you did, so we'll give you that. But like we know, indoors always makes sense to be using flash. There is no flash here, but I still think it's a cute picture. You've got lovely energy moving this way. And this is a good example of when this is what we call awkward eyes. And occasionally awkward eyes aren't a problem. Awkward eyes is like this, when your eyes are to the side. That's called awkward eyes. And in this case, although they're kind of awkward, they don't give the feeling of awkward, which is nice. So well done. Okay, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Well done, Hannah. Excellent. Okay, are we sharp? Yeah, pin sharp. What do we think? Stats, good, bad, or perfect? Let's just bring up the poll.
Just to let you know, we're a couple minutes over, but I don't know if you want to start the posing.
Just quickly, ladies and gents, we have a 200th of a second at f1.8 at ISO 400. Is that good, bad, or perfect with a 5D Mark III? Why did I mention that? If anybody could tell me on the chat why I mentioned it's a 5D Mark III. Who cares what camera it is? 400 ISO, 1.8, 200th of a second. Good, bad, or perfect. Finishing up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so everyone said perfect. You know what I think? I think they're very, very good. But I think if I was taking this picture, I would probably be at 800 ISO at a 400th of a second or 640 ISO. That's why I mentioned it's a 5D Mark III, because a 5D Mark III can for sure handle the higher ISO. No problems whatsoever. I'm just going to quickly. Yeah, sorry, Joe. Yeah.
Well, does it matter that her elbow's cut off a bit, or you think that's okay?
No, I don't think it matters. Why? I'll explain to you because of this.
Same as, yeah.
This line over here keeps in. Plus, the energy is basically like this. There's a strong energy to the left. Plus, the sloping down of her shoulders also brings us to the left. Plus, we've got this very powerful shape over here that also brings us to the left. All that into the picture, that is in no way, shape, or form distracting. It's beautifully cropped in. It's beautifully balanced. What I would like to do to this picture very quickly, though, is just to show some people what I call my radial sunburst, which I love doing, and it adds so much to a picture. I'm just going to do it very quickly. I'm going to quickly just bring down the colors here. I'm just going to make it a little bit more red. There we go. And now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. I love doing this so much. 1 second. We're going to use our radial tool over here, and we're going to flick invert. Now my effect is going to be inside here, and we're just going to bang this up. Okay, and I'm going to put in a color, a ready tinge to it as well. And I'm going to now duplicate that. It's going to be too much now, but I'm just going to drop this one down. I'm actually going to just do the other one, a teeny drop, and I'm going to make it a little more like that, and then intensify this one a drop more. And that's just giving us that beautiful, like, makes it feel, it didn't work as well as I thought it was going to work. It needs to spend a little more time on that, to be honest. But this is, I would also probably just erase a little bit from over here using my erase, going to the brush in my radial tool and using erase, and then we can just kind of pick off of the head over here. But using this technique adds huge amounts to a picture, Jerry. Let's just have a look from here to here, from here. So like I said, it could do with a little bit more work, but it's time to move on. Okay, Joe, how are we doing for time?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to start the posing.
We're going to go to the posing. Okay. Let's jump in. So we're in the last week. We have this. The next part of our presentation is on children's posing. Okay, we had a lot of you asking about children's posing. So to do a super quick recap, please remember that we're going to send you the replay again. So we are going very quickly. I know we're going quickly, and I also know that I talk quickly. and I've got a funny accent as well. So feel free to watch again on the replay and just like we argue over a lot of information. Okay, so we said young kids, keep it very simple. Okay, I'll just make the pictures a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go through very quickly. Keep it very simple. Keep the posing simple. Hold something, anything. Very good for little kids. Little girls have generally have a high PQ. Everyone remembers what a PQ is. PQ means physical intelligence, means they know how to hold themselves, and you should take advantage of that. The headshot. Do not underestimate a gorgeous, powerful headshot of a little kid. Kids are gorgeous. They are the most gorgeous thing in all of creation, in my opinion. There is no mountain that is more beautiful than a child. There is no river. There is no sunset. Nothing is as beautiful as a child's face, in my opinion, and you should cash in on that. Okay, not even close, not even close. Props, make sure you've got something to put their hands on, etc. You can use trees, couches, pillars, staircases, anything. Putting heads in hands, very good. And this is just a recap. Draping the arm is a fantastic way to create a very natural feeling for a little kid. Very, very natural, very easy. And then we spoke about how many pictures we need to take to get a great shot from little kids. And I think you remember we showed you this. I think we took something like 50 odd pictures to get that one picture, and the same with all these other pictures as well. Okay, get the kid in the perfect place, make sure the light's perfect, pardon me, the background's perfect, your camera's all set up, and just go for it. Click, 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 and remember, just delete the pictures that don't work out. Okay, I think this is where we got to now. Okay, did we do this, Joe?
No, I didn't see Nechama last time.
That's not Nechama, I don't think.
I mean Tally, sorry.
you just insulted me for forgetting Chaya's birthday.
You forgot your other niece's birthday today, so we're even.
Okay, so look, what's special about this picture? This picture special because you've just got this gorgeous little girl going like just feeling so special. How do you do that? All you need to do is say to her, do you know how gorgeous you are? Do you know how gorgeous you are? And you'll see every little girl is just like, they squirm in their gorgeousness, okay? And it's fantastic. It brings out, like, again, just say, do you really know how pretty you are? You are so pretty. And you say that to a little girl, and you watch her just like kind of melt in herself, and you get these gorgeous pictures. It's beautiful. And then a little boy, you don't see how gorgeous you are, but you can say to him something like, looking good, man, looking really good. Psh, nice tie, something like that. And you can end up with, again, some really special pictures. But remember, never finish at just give me a smile. It's nothing. It's like the beginning. It's not even the beginning. You need to try and pull out their soul, not in like that's what you're trying to show. Try and put out their soul. It sounds bad to say it like that, but yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. Okay, fun with siblings. Okay, so me and Joe over the years have had fun, but this is just me just exercising my funness with the kids. Just squeeze cheeks, poke each other, pull. I have actually had a couple of fights start over this. I really have. But
I think I've seen the boys.
what, Dave?
I think I've seen your boys start a fight with this.
Yeah.
Fine. You're in a pinch too hard.
That's what happened. That's what happened. Somebody pinched someone's cheek too hard one time, and it really turned into a fight. But just have people play and pick them up, do something stupid. A lot of the time it doesn't work out and it ends up with a stupid picture. But the times that it works out is fantastic. So just have fun and make sure that you're keeping the energies. Everything's all about your energies. And remember, energy builds on itself. So as they start getting more antsy with each other and more like energized, you start making yourself louder and quicker and laughing more. And before you know it, you've ended up with these amazing interactions that just are fantastic. Okay, onward. This is what I call present yourself. Okay, a little girl who doesn't really know what to do with herself, if you just turn around to her and say, okay, 3, 2, 1, present yourself. Yeah, they know how to do it. And it creates a nice picture. Is it going to win any awards? I don't think so. Braces, what do you call these in America? They're not braces. What do we call these in America?
They are. Oh, in America.
In their braces. What are they called in America, ladies and gentlemen? What are they called? Slacks, not slacks.
No, that's trousers.
Suspenders.
What?
Suspenders.
Suspenders, thank you. Okay, so when kids have suspenders or braces, 100% do that kind of twangy thing. That's great. And then this is, again, the present yourself, and I got the kids in the background doing a similar thing, okay? And then, again, with the hands coming towards the lens using a wide angle, creates a very dynamic, energized kind of feel. Same kind of idea here. White balance is a little bit off there, but otherwise quite cute. Okay.
Sure. What do you, a really question we've just had. What do you do if you're awesome with cameras and graphics, and you know you really technically you know about everything, but you just have a really dry personality? Like what then?
So I think, I'll tell you, usually I would have said, if it wasn't for a certain person that I know, I would have said like, yeah, I hear that's unlucky. But I don't believe that's the case. I believe that you can put on for your job any persona you need. I really think you can for your job. I worked in the market. Joe, you remember Uncle Jerry?
Yeah.
In Wembley Market? He was like, Uncle Jerry, is he still alive?
Don't know.
Anyway, he's very old, I think. I think he's alive still. He's a very nice man. And, I don't know if you remember, but he was like a very quiet guy. He would be sitting there in the corner. He would never really say anything. But when he was at Wembley Market, he had like a crowd of 50 to 100 people with him selling towels. Like, you couldn't imagine what he became in front of all of his people, because he needed to earn money, and that was the way he did it. So I also know a photographer that her personality is very, very introverted. She really is. She's a philosopher, introverted person. And when she gets behind the camera in front of her clients, she's the opposite. So I feel that you can definitely feel your job. You can break out of wherever it is. And don't forget, it's only for an hour or so. It's not, it's not forever. So I do feel that that's the answer to that question. Okay, onward, the one child feature. Okay, take a child and showcase that child. Okay, you can do it in lots of different ways. This is a cute one. That's a cute idea. That's gorgeous, though.
Stunning.
Again, just taking one of the kids. Again, you can see here I'm being very technically, always very careful technically, but bring one of the kids forwards and make usually like the cutest kid. That I love that picture as well. Usually trying to find the cutest, youngest, smallest, most podgy faced kid and put them in the foreground as well. A very, very nice idea for a picture. And then you've got this option. This is a picture that I took last Friday. Okay, we've got everybody standing in the background. And ladies and gentlemen, just quickly, what focus mode should I be using while I'm taking this picture if I'm using a Canon camera? What focus mode should I be using? I think people will tell me in a minute. Anyway, so this is another great idea when you've got everyone in the background and you just have one of the kids run towards you and exactly Kugel's on it, Naomi, Bella, everyone's on it. Thank you, AI Servo, fantastic. All my students are coming through. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very good. Yeah, so AI Servo, again, another great option for a picture. Okay, running pictures generally. Okay, now the key to the running pictures is choose your subject. This is a great example, okay? Choose your man and forget about everyone else. Don't think about being people. Always be shooting at 1.8, shooting it as quick as possible, and just choose the cutest, whatever kid, generally the cutest, smallest kid, and let everybody else just become graphics that we see here, and you end up with a gorgeous, gorgeous picture, okay? A good idea is to keep people separate. Like, for example, that is not such a good idea. That is not such a good shot, in my opinion. This is a nice shot where we've got everyone in their own isolated space, but the running picture is a great idea. And then obviously walking. But when we're walking, what I would be doing is I would generally be trying to get them to interact with each other. I didn't put out such great examples for that, but definitely trying to get people to look at each other. Action. On the fly, if you've got a roundabout, use it. This was a good. This kid was a handful, and I got him on a swing, and I said to him, "Try and kick my camera." And so he just kept swinging. He was loving it, trying to kick my camera. moving it away from him, and it got him really involved, and we got a nice picture in the end. Okay, coming out.
Did he make contact?
I think he actually did at one point. I beat him up. His parents weren't happy about that.
Sure. Have you ever had a client that is just particularly, the family or the husband, you know, the parents are particularly dry, and you can see your enthusiasm and is just annoying them, and they just want to, you know, smash the camera in your face, or that doesn't happen so much?
Yeah, so that's called EQ. The quality that allows you to not have them smash your camera is called EQ, emotional intelligence, and you have to gauge that. That can be a case where if people are very, very dry, very, very formal, then you have to drop the jokes, you have to drop, or at least drop the drop the energy, because sometimes that energy will annoy them, and you have to be emotionally intelligent enough to see when that is rubbing your client up the wrong way. And if it is rubbing your client up the wrong way, you have to stop. No question. You have to stop. Good question, Jared. Okay, this is a great picture. Okay, 1 second. Let me just sort this. Yeah. So this was the final shot. Okay, Joe, you like that picture?
Yeah, cute.
It's cute, yeah. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you all a question. What's the most important part? If everyone realizes, yeah, I'm walking with this kid, but my camera is about at my knee height, yeah? So what is the most important thing here? What's the setting? What do I need to take care of the most? What's going to be the biggest problem that I need to be careful of? I've got my camera around knee height and I'm walking backwards. And there's a really, really good thing we're going to learn right now. What do people say? Anybody answering? No one's answering.
Not yet, because of the delay, Shmuel.
Oh, yeah. Shutter speed. No, that's not my concern. That's easy. That's obvious. Focus. Thank you, Rivka. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Miriam. Pesty, thank you. So what can we do? What can we do to deal? So Ayala's saying use the servo. Now, people behind, yeah, I took a lot of pictures to make sure that everyone's perfect behind. What we need to do to make sure we engineer the odds of getting this picture fantastic is we need to change from one single point focus to full frame focus points. Okay, a very, very intelligent thing to do. So on our camera, this is a little bit advanced for those of you who aren't more in the program, but we need to change from a single point to using multi-point, and then we're gonna rely on the camera, and we're gonna see that we're gonna be able to get a really good and a really good sharp focus. I'm just gonna show you the pictures that I took here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, these are all good. These are cute, but look, do you see? That's not perfect, and I got the perfect one, beautifully distanced in between the two men over here, and they are all sharp. They are all sharp, and that's because I switched to my full focus, to all my focus points, and that meant that I engineered the odds. Again, this is another idea. Let me just another example of the same thing. Joe, how are we doing for time?
Yeah, you're 5 minutes over, but I don't know if people want a break or just carry straight through.
Okay, we'll keep going for a minute. But this isn't perfect. Like, if she was a little bit further over that way, it'd be perfect. But it's a cute shot. Again, it's the same idea. I'm holding the camera around my knee height or even lower. And this is how we did it again. So this is also a cute picture. The nose picking is never, yeah, that was a picture. That's also cute.
A problem you have sometimes.
Thanks. I did okay there. I don't think we actually absolutely nailed it, but I think it was okay. Dancing just on the fly again. One last thing. This is just again pictures I just took last week. We got everybody posed nicely, and then we got them. They just started like dancing in the front. So just take advantage. These are just unedited pictures, but just take advantage of when you see them doing something like that. And so they started dancing. So what did I say? Everyone in the background, guys, something crazy, hands out, make a shape, do this, do that. Again, it's just the energies. It doesn't even, you could just be going like blah, 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 blah. It doesn't even matter. Just the energies. And then look at everyone in the background. And now we've got a great shot. We've got a picture that people will probably love. That's beautiful. Okay, great. Where are we holding? Oh, one last point, and this is really, really important. Okay, now this is a kid he's actually a very cute kid, and his father's a very, very holy, very lovely man. But he was just miserable for the whole shoot. I shot for half an hour, and that was the best it got. That was the best I got. I think this is is that with flash? I think it's not with flash, but that was the best I got. It's a nice, technically nice picture, but that was as good as it got. But then when we finished and I was walking home, yeah, he walked off into a certain area, and I got my final picture, and that's gorgeous. That's really a special picture. So what I want to just let you know from here is don't put your camera away. Don't ever finish until you're gone, until your clients are away. Your camera should still be with you, because there's always that final chance when there's, unless you've got gorgeous pictures the whole way, but the final opportunity can present itself where you can just nail that perfect picture when you would have put your camera away before that, and you wouldn't have gotten the shot.
Do you know what? One thing I remember from my whole wedding album, the perfect shot I think you got of me was, and this was before the shoot. Would you remember? Do you know what I'm about to say? In the car on the way.
Yeah.
And you're in the middle of driving, and he literally gets his camera. I don't even think you looked at me, and you just went like that. And this photo of me looking out the window with this pensive, it was, to this day, it's in our actual main album.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly. There've been so many pictures where we've gotten like that, where literally just, you turn out, or you go up high and click like this. And I mean, lots of pictures at events I'm taking up like that. But just remember again, just keep in mind that guy who said spray and pray. He's so wrong. It's really not about spraying and praying. It's about engineering the odds. It really is. Okay.
Do you want to start Power Insights? Do you want a break? What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to just grab some more water for 1 second, yeah? Go on, Joe, you can keep everyone entertained.
Interesting. What do you do if you go by your method and you still don't get any good photos?
Keep taking more pictures. Did someone just say that?
Yeah, Dina. It's true. It can happen. Has it ever happened to you?
Sure. Look, engineering the odds means you're engineering the odds. There's always the 1 in 100 that you might fall on your face. That's what engineering the odds is. You're just doing everything in your power to engineer the odds to hopefully nail it. But again, we're dealing with odds. That's how it goes. Probabilities. That's this world. Okay. Oh, great. We've sold some masterclasses. That's nice. Okay. Guys, don't miss out on that as well. Let me just sort here. We're going to get into the Power Insights in a second. Just a reminder for those of you who aren't signed up in any of our classes, our masterclass is, can we just have everybody, please, who did the masterclass, just give a heads up to the people who aren't on the masterclass, just to tell them how much it makes sense to join up if you're into photography or whatever level you are. I'd appreciate that from all of you guys, because I know that you're there for me, I'm there for you. Because what, Joe?
Do a poll, good, bad, or perfect.
Okay, let's do that. Why not? Put myself on the line. 1 second. Good, bad. Okay, guys, what do we think of 0 to Pro, the masterclass? Good, bad, or perfect? That's really putting ourselves on the line here. Okay, for all of those of you who aren't enrolled. Wow.
Wow.
Look at that. Okay, we're going to give you another 10 seconds. That's amazing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. If we get 100% perfect, then everybody who's not enrolled has to go and immediately sign up, okay? Quickly end poll. That's amazing, though. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for doing that, because we just got 100% perfect. That is amazing. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Power Insights. Joe, should we jump in?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask everybody tell me, what is the why? Let me first, this I didn't number the letter the pictures, sorry, but I think that this hand is a problem, and I think that this hand is not a problem. Do people agree with me or disagree with me? So let's just do a poll here. Which image? It's not really which image do you prefer. That's not it, is it? 1 second, I can create a quick poll. 1 second, just 1 second. Oh, it's difficult to say. Can we just have everybody? Joe, do you agree with me in this idea that the hand in this picture is an issue and the hand in this picture is not an issue? Do you think that's a fair thing to say?
Go back to the other one.
So let me just let's do a poll. I know we can do 1 second.
People are already writing, Shmuel. People in the chat are already saying. Oh yeah? They agree.
They agree? People agree?
Everyone agrees, basically. Yeah.
Everyone agrees, yeah? Okay, good. So the question's why? Why is this hand annoying and this hand is fine? It's a similar kind of picture. So I looked at these and I was thinking, like, what is the issue? Just before I get into explaining what I'm thinking here, I just want people to understand that this is really what the success of the masterclass is based on, is the articulation of the mechanics of the image. Because as we articulate things, we really start to understand. And then we can see, like, everybody can look at this picture. You could ask 10 people ask 10 people, would you prefer A or B? And they'll all say, I prefer A for whatever picture. But no one can really say why. They'll say, well, it's like sharper. I like the way he's sitting or whatever it is. Once you start to articulate what makes picture A better than picture B, then you're in the most amazing position to start being able to see it when you're standing in front and you're ready to take the picture, and it moves the photography up exponentially. So I think the issues like this, a couple of issues. Number one is we see the entire hand, yeah, all the fingers here. Relatively now, this hand is nearly as big as their faces, okay? Whereas in this picture now, the hand's closed, so we've got relatively a much smaller hand compared to the faces. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, even though we've got this very, very frantic texture over here, in fact, what that does is that emphasizes the hand even more because it really contrasts. Whereas in this picture, we've got this very strong texture from Davida's hair, okay? And what that does is it actually distracts us from the hand and it keeps our eye over here. We've got two very beautiful people as well, so our eyes are kept in their faces as well. So overall, those two reasons, that the hand is relatively smaller in this picture than it is in this picture, and we've got other graphics distracting us from the hand, okay? It's a very important thing to know that after the eyes, being the most pulling part of a person's body, is the hands are very, very graphically attractive, okay? Onward. Okay, this is a great example of using a aperture that gives us a depth of field that allows us to keep two eyes in focus. Okay, as everyone knows, the minute you get a wide aperture lens, for you not to be shooting at 1.8 is like, to turn it to 2.2, you're like, 2.5, 2.8, and you're already like cringing, your shoulders are like this, and then you get to like 3.2 and you're like, I can't anymore. But it makes sense, because then you can get two eyes in focus. So this picture is just to give us all a little bit of encouragement or chizuk to not be a, what's the word? An aperture queen, okay, where we can only shoot on the widest aperture. It makes sense sometimes to stop it down. Okay, this is a great example of a picture where we are fully entitled to crop off the hands. Why are we able to cut off the hands here? And the reason is because of these cuffs. Now, the rule that we learn in the school is, are we allowed to cut off hands and feet? The answer is yes. Are we allowed to break lines and shapes? The answer is no, okay? So a lot of the time when you cut off hands and feet, you also break lines and shapes. But this is a great example where the shape is like this. So cropping off the hands is not an issue. Okay, just a quick example of where you tell people to look creates a massive difference in the energies. Okay, this picture really is kind of unbalanced, and this picture is much more balanced, completely in my control. Okay, a very good example of how we need to be super accurate. That is not super accurate, that is super accurate. Okay, makes a big difference. Okay, we've learned this before, but we'll learn it again. Our eye goes from high to low. So the energy in this picture is going this side. So it makes sense to have, it makes sense to have our subject on this side. So we've got energy going into space. Okay, onward. Just the example of using two different lenses, because I always have with me two cameras. I have my 85mm 1.8 on my left side, and on my right side I have my 24-70 2.8, and so I can take these two very different pictures. Look at the truth is in this instance I prefer the 85mm. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, I'm shooting at 2.8. I'm at a 200th of a second because I am using flash, for sure. But in this instance, I actually prefer the 2.8, the 85mm as opposed to the 24mm. Okay. Oh, this was a great example from Ricky. Ricky uploaded this picture this week. This is a great example. Joe, what would you give this path of on the uglyometer, the uglyometer, 10 being beautiful? What would you give that graphic there?
Yeah, a good solid 2.5.
Yeah, 2.
And it only gets that because the leaves around it are a little bit prettier.
And she's actually, I think she's also she's warmed up a little bit. Not, I think she has. But look at look at this. By getting a little bit lower, she minimized the ugliness. Oh, she minimized. She minimized the ugliness of this path. Just keep in mind, everyone, just keep in mind, when you have ugly graphics in your picture gets ugly. So even by just going a little bit lower, you minimize this ugliness and the picture becomes a nicer picture. Okay, this is a great friend of mine called Eliezer. He's a fantastic guy.
I thought it was you.
I tell you, this guy is one of the nicest people on the whole planet. He really is. He has a lovely, wonderful family. This is just to show you the difference in flair. Okay, how different. This is, look, it's actually in the same second, like 1 second difference. This picture, we've got flare. And this picture, I think I moved to my, I think you can see that I tilted the camera down, must have been 1 millimeter. And look at the difference. We got flare here and we don't have flare there. Flare is literally dependent on millimeters, literally on millimeters, literally. Okay, everybody, which picture do we prefer? A or B? A, B. A or B? I think we can put them together on the picture. You can't see them so well.
Shmuel, just a heads up, I don't know if you want to start the business insights soon. Just a few minutes over. Yeah,
we're a few minutes over. Okay, we'll do that. So everyone can see, I think everybody clearly appreciates B, obviously. Why? Look at the difference. The only difference in these two pictures is this curve. And we learn from here that this is the kind of thing that makes pictures beautiful. It really is. These lines are what add beauty to the image. Okay? Very clear. Oh, we can finish off very quickly. This is just, although the smile's nicer here, just the difference between separating our subject from the background. And now just to see with the leg being not parallel, not perpendicular. Is it parallel? Continuous. Yeah, I suppose continuous with the line in the background, as opposed to having the leg bent like this. I think everyone would agree that this is a superior picture to this image here. Okay,
But when you were taking a photo, did you notice his leg was to the side and you told him to straighten it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whew. Onward. What is it now, Joe? It's
Business insights.
Business insights. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Also, whilst you're getting that ready, I feel like we should just mention Josh has replied in the chat, but a few people have been asking about your masterclass if it is for very beginners. And without doing such a salesy pitch, I just think it's important to tell people it really is like literally from zero knowledge to becoming a professional. So just a few people spoke about that.
I'll tell you what makes the masterclass really unique is that we have professional photographers who've been shooting for a few years doing it, and we also have people with no experience. So you're like, well, how does that work? And the way that it works is that I critique your pictures. A lot of the masterclass is to do with my personal critiquing, and I give a critique according to your level. So the classes are very clear, very put together, and they explain things, you know, on a very technical level, and it's very it's very clear and very systemized. But then when you get the personal feedback, when you get the personal feedback, I give it at your level. So if I see that you're already using, you know, a 5D Mark III or 4, and you understand what aperture is, I'm going to start critiquing you at a much, much higher level. So it really quite amazingly works from 0 to pro, and from like pro to like really pro. So it really does quite interestingly work like that. Okay, I am going to share a slideshow. I made a slideshow. So now this is a presentation I made called How to Handle Unhappy Customers. Okay, I think I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger just for the fun of it. Oh, maybe a bit bigger. Okay, how to handle unhappy customers. That's Joe's husband. I'm only joking. Joe's married to a wonderful, wonderful guy. Daniel, you are the man. Okay. Let me just get this ready. Okay. So the truth is I'm going to try and do this in like 5 minutes, but this is really worth going back over. I can't tell you how many hours of reading and learning have been condensed into this teeny little thing. And not only does it help you deal with unhappy customers, it also helps you deal with unhappy spouses, unhappy children, unhappy parents. It's really like, I can't tell you how much learning has gone into this like very, very quick little thing that I'm going to give over right now. Okay, the foundations. Mindset. When you have an unhappy client, the first thing you need to fix in your mind is we are on the same side. Okay, never turn it into a me against you thing. We're going to get into all of this. Inner silence, that means shutting up that voice in your head that never shuts up. Very, very important. Demonstrate understanding, apologize but not overly, move to the solution ASAP, and finally, and maybe most importantly, cash in on the opportunity. Okay, let's go forward. So we're on the same side, okay? Happy clients are worth gold. There is nothing more valuable than a happy client. No SEO, no posts on Facebook. Nothing is worth as much as a happy client. So our goal is to make sure that this unhappy client gets happy. Okay, the goal is not to win. We're not there to win. Our win is actually making them happy. Yeah, it's not about I'm right and you're wrong, because a lot of times you get unhappy clients, and the reason why they're unhappy is because they were an idiot. Okay, it happens a lot. They were late, they forgot something, they didn't do this, they were that. Yeah, that's not what winning is. Winning means that they are now happy. Okay, the goal is to turn an unhappy customer into a happy one. Good. Okay, inner silence, really listen. Okay, now that doesn't mean there's 3 levels to listening. There's listening with the intent to reply, which is basically what we do all the time, all of us, basically that exception. Then there's listening and gauging and analyzing and contrasting and comparing and measuring, etc. We're getting into like very deep kind of Kabbalistic things here. I don't want to go too deep into it. But then there's the ultimate level of listening, where you basically just shut up and you just listen. and you're not thinking, you're just hearing their words. That is really where we're trying to get to. Now, what that does is it gives this person psychological air. Okay, when they feel they're being heard, all the energies relax, and we're now in the world of we can fix this. Okay, do not respond until they have clearly and absolutely finished. Silence until they've really got off of their chest what they need to get off of their chest. If you're speaking on the phone, emails obviously a different thing. Now, this underlying point is it was worth coming to this seminar, this webinar, just for this final underlying point. And it's like this. Number one, never ever blame. Okay, like I said, usually when you've got an unhappy client, it was their fault. Not usually, but a lot of the time. Okay, now you need to try and feel their pain and their disappointment with whatever happened. Okay, really feel it. And now this is the key. Okay, and this is the key to dealing with your wife, with your husband, with your children, with your parents, with your neighbor, with anyone who has any kind of gripe. Is that a word, Joe?
Yeah,
with
sure.
you is articulate the problem back to them better than they articulated it to you. That is the revelation, not the revelation. That is you demonstrating that you really heard them. Once you can do that, yeah, everything changes. Okay, until now things were changing, but once you say back to them, I hear, like, we missed that picture with your father, and I see, I really hear, like, he's gone back to America now and he's not going to be there. I really understand, like, what's happened there, and he's not going to be back until next year, and that means, like, your kid who's not walking is going to be walking now. Changes everything, and now that means that you're in a position to apologize, but don't overly apologize. Why? Because once you apologize overly, your client ends up falling into a victim mentality, and that's not what we want. Once you've apologized, you've done it sincerely, now it's time to move on to the solution. And once we're talking about the solution, it's a whole different conversation, and you don't have an unhappy client anymore. There's now two people trying to resolve a problem, as opposed to me against you. It's we're here, there's an issue, let's work it out. This is moving to the solution. How to rectify is a completely different conversation. Now, don't just fix, you need to compensate. Again, this is my business, what's the word? My business ethos. Thank you. My business ethic. I know a lot of other people, well, not a lot of other people, I know some people don't agree with me, but this is my business ethic. For example, we went to a burger shop with my family. Taking my family to a burger shop is not a straightforward operation. Okay, I have lots of children, and burgers and children and waiting and things like that don't all go together. So I remember they messed up the order, and they gave us, like, instead of chips, they gave us something wrong. Anyway, I complained, and they said, oh, sorry. We waited another 20 minutes, and then they fixed our order, and they gave us our order. All I felt, and I think any normal person was like, that's just so annoying. I just sat here for 20 minutes of more torture with my children fighting each other and whatever, and you just now came forth and gave me what I asked for originally. If you'd just given me, like, one extra plate of chips or a couple of extra drinks, that would have changed everything. That was the compensation. But it is, you messed up, and now you just got back to zero, and you just lost me 20 minutes of my time. Keep that in mind. Very important to compensate. Perceived value is king. Now, I remember at a wedding we did one time, we didn't take pictures of the decor. For whatever happened, whatever, for whatever reason, we didn't get any pictures of the decor, and the mother was quite upset. And after the email, whatever, I went through, I did everything that I spoke about, and then in the end, I said, we'd like to comp you 3 enlargements of, your choice, and we'll comp you the 3 enlargements. And I was thinking how funny that was, because an enlargement by my printer costs me about $2. So imagine, after somebody's paying me thousands of dollars for their wedding, and I screwed up and they're all upset, and I say, you know what, we're going to give you back $6. Imagine what they would say. Whereas I said, we're going to give you 3 enlargements, and she was completely happy. She was pacified. It was amazing. So perceived value, even though reprints don't really cost anything, they have a very high perceived value, and you should really cash in on that, because it's very difficult to return money. It really is difficult to return money. I do appreciate that. And number 5, most importantly, is make sure that you turn this into an opportunity to build your relationship with these people. When you screw up, and you bend over backwards and make sure that you fix what you did, you've now become a mensch in their eyes. You've become, how do you say a mensch? Not in Hebrew or in Yiddish.
Really
a good guy.
Good person.
Yeah, you've become a good guy in their eyes, and you've built your relationship. So I've messed up in the past. Over the years, we've had many clients. We've messed up, and I've gone out of my way to make sure that everything was as good as I possibly could make it. And they've become some of my best clients I've had. It's really special. People appreciate the extra mile. Remember, relationship. That is what your business is built on. It's not built on squeezing a few pennies out of them for making an extra reprint sale. It's about the relationship. Okay, so in summary, mindset, them winning is your win. Make sure that you have in mind that the win is that they win. Okay, empathize and make sure that they know that you're empathizing. Apologize, and remember the key to that is the articulating back of their issue better than they articulated it to you. Apologize sincerely but not overly, so you don't fall into the victim mentality. Move to the solution conversation ASAP, because that's a completely different situation and you're now out of the world of having an unhappy client, and use this mess up to build the relationship. Okay, that was literally, in that 5 or 6 minute presentation, was like hours, like hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of learning and experimenting, I suppose, whatever you call experience. Okay. What do we do now, Joe?
What do we do? I have a couple of questions. I don't know if you, I know you ask everyone for feedback when you follow up with this, but a few people have private messaged and written on the group that they want to see more time of you critiquing. I don't know if you want to do a poll with people that, like right now, so they can answer you, just to see if they do want you to spend a little bit longer with critiquing, because it looks like that's quite a popular
I think
area.
I'm going to do that when I send you the replay. When I send you the replay, I'm going to send you a Google form, and we do want this to be exactly, you know, for you, exactly the best it can be. So I think we'll do that. I think we'll.
Yeah, everyone in the people are saying more.
Yeah, everyone wants more critiquing. Okay, very good. Also, obviously, you can join our masterclass if you're not in the masterclass, and you can have like nearly 2 hours of personal critiquing or more. That's all included in the masterclass. Okay, so what I did this time.
Whilst you're just talking about the masterclass, someone actually asked quite a specific question. Does the class go through all the tools and lenses of the camera, which of course it does, and they also see that it's mainly about portrait photos, but for those interested in scenic and objects, is that course suitable too?
So it is, in that we teach you photography. Can anybody else just put their thoughts on that? Anybody who's done the class as well? We've said this before, that photography is, in Hebrew it's called a chokhmah. There's a wisdom to photography. There's a system to photography. And then there's the application of that wisdom. So photography is photography. You have your aperture, you have your shutter speed, you have your ISO, you have your focal length, you have your composition, the technicalities of that, etc. Are you going to use it in food photography? Are you going to use it in reportage photography, in sports photography, in portrait photography, in interior or architectural photography? That's an application. So it's definitely a fantastic stepping stone to some of these other disciplines of photography, but it is based on family portrait photography. It really is based on portrait photography, which also spills over into event photography. That's for sure. Okay, so look, what I did this week is, I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm going to try and cover as many questions as I can. I'm going to share my screen. And now...
Shmuel, when you you put the link to your previous webinars as well? A few people have asked for them. They missed last week, or they can just.
Yeah, when I send them out to everybody, I'm going to send them. I'm going to. I'll link the two previous ones for sure. No problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, what I did, Joe, keep me on time. Yeah, I'm going to go really quick.
You've got just under 10 minutes, and I think.
Okay, so we've got a lot of questions here. What I'm going to do is what I did was I cut and pasted all the questions that you asked. Pardon me. And I created a sheet. I'm going to read them quickly, and I'm going to answer them as quickly as possible. Okay. If, like I said, probably better to catch all this on the replay, but whatever you can get now, you get now. Okay. How do I find my style? Okay. Your style is you. It's not something you find. It's something that you express. Your style will come out no matter how you learn, whatever techniques you learn from whatever. As you get more familiar with the equipment and you have more practice, you are going to shine through your images. Okay, the way you see the world is going to shine through. Don't worry about it. Do not be searching for your style, okay? It will come. How much to charge a client after an unsuccessful session? Child does not behave and cries throughout the session. My opinion, if the child is ill, okay, which could mean if he's like crying through the whole thing, like that sounds like he's ill, I would cancel the session within about 10 or 15 minutes. I see it's not flying. I would not charge my client, and I would make up for to make a how do you say it? To make like a reshoot at some time in the near future. You've just turned that client into an absolute raving fan even before you've taken the pictures. And I think it's worth the 15 minutes and the half an hour traveling and then the money you have to pay the assistant, whatever. I think it's worth it personally. Okay. Do you have a shot list for events like bar mitzvahs and weddings? Certain must-have shots. Do you ask your clients if they have must-have shots? If you do have such a list, even in your mind, what are some of your favorites? Now, the way I want to answer this question is there's obviously a bunch of pictures at a wedding. The bride and her mum, the bride and her dad, the bride, the mum and dad, the bride with her sisters and siblings, the bride, etc., etc. Don't make a list. Don't ask them for a list. When they give you a list, the first picture on the list is bride. Okay, you were going to get that anyway. Yeah. Now the next picture is bride and mum. I bet you would have gotten that as well. Then bride and dad, and then bride, and you're like, wow. Now what happens is it breaks the flow, it breaks the energy. And instead of you like, okay, dad, come in, and holding cut, making sure you're being very intelligent, remembering what you did, what you didn't do. And then for that, you can create an internal kind of mental, a mental checklist, which isn't very difficult. But once you've got a list, it breaks the energies, and the energy of the pictures fall tremendously. So I don't let my clients write lists. I basically say to them, from my experience, always use those words, from my experience, they're worth gold. From my experience, I found that it's a much better idea to not have a list because it breaks the energies. People hear that. And what I say to them is, you have any particular pictures like Uncle Bob and Sally are coming in from, from wherever, and they want a picture of so-and-so, just make a list of those 4 or 5 obscure pictures that I would know about, and then that's done. Okay, what do you do when clients ask for unedited pictures that I don't want to give out? I say, I'm sorry, it's company policy. We don't give out the raw pictures, but there's nothing that you're going to gain from seeing the raw pictures. We're going to give you everything that is worth seeing. That's what I would say. What's the best camera lens for a beginner on a budget? I should have erased that. I'll let Josh deal with that one. I'm really getting better with my photography, Baruch Hashem, and thanks to you, I've done at least 100 jobs. Yay. However, when I see the work of a more professional photographer, I begin to doubt my work and feel like I'll never be able to do that, be that professional. The studio is so complicated. I know I have it in me to be an expert. I have a hard time seeing myself get there. Any insight? So I wanted to just bring that. I think that's a very important point, that we live in the world of the internet where we can see photographers all over the world. You're not going to be the best photographer in the world. I'm sorry, you're not. You've got guys out there, girls out there who are so talented. It's insane. And the best thing I can say, and this is really a piece of advice for just dealing with people just overall in general, is that whenever I'm dealing with other people, I ask 2 questions and only 2 questions. How can I help you? or how can I learn from you? Once you start comparing yourself to them, yeah, then you're into the world of a lot of pain in your heart. How can I help you if they're less than you? I don't want to say less than you, but how can I help you if they're less than you? And how can I learn from you if they're more from you? Get the ego out of the picture. When you see someone who's doing fantastic stuff, and you are going to see people doing fantastic stuff that will smash what you're doing, yeah, look and analyze and learn. Don't take it personally, because otherwise it will really bring you down. It really will. Okay, I love photography, but I'm a full-time mother and full-time employee. What's the best way to either practice photography as an art or get into it as a business while maintaining a full-time busy schedule? The AMP is the way to go for that one. That was why I left that one in there. We will build your business for you, and you can get on with just taking pictures and being a mum or a dad or whatever it is. But otherwise, to build a business is not so straightforward. A lot of energy. Also, how much of getting the children to laugh is the photographer's job? Is it half parents' job, half photographer? It's your job, 100%. If the parents are helping out, that's great, but it's your job, 100%. What if someone is not a crazy, wacky person? They're more formal. Is it unprofessional to have their mother do a lot of the work of getting the kids engaged? No, absolutely not. Just remember, though, when the mother's going crazy getting the kids engaged, don't have her like, you know, 3 meters to your right side. Have her literally behind your head, literally breathing down your neck, doing funny things behind you so that you can catch the kids' attention. Because even when they're just behind you, the kids' eyes are not looking straight into the camera. But when they're looking in your direction and then you say, whatever it is, you'll bring their eyes into your camera, and that's great. Okay, I love this question. What inspires you? So I don't know if you're talking about photography or anything else. What inspires me?
Sister.
What, Joe?
Your younger sister.
Yeah, my younger sister inspires without any end. In fact, whenever I need inspiration, I just look at the massive picture I have of her on my wall, and I sit there in our front room. We just have a massive picture of Joe.
What would Joe do?
What inspires me is goodness, is people being selfless. That's what inspires me. In regards to photography, I think I'm inspired by striving for perfection. Yeah, I think that striving for perfection inspires me. And if I don't attain perfection, I try and keep smiling. I like to use bridge and camera raw. Would that work with your masterclass? Will I gain from your masterclass if I'm not a fan of this and you work through Lightroom? Yes, I know bridge, both bridge and camera raw basically, but from what I looked up quickly to answer this question is it makes sense to use Lightroom. At least give it a try and go into it with an open mind. What do you do when clients, man, woman, want a pose that makes you spiritually uncomfortable? We've spoken about PQ. We've spoken about EQ, and this is called SQ, spiritual intelligence, okay? Have integrity. If it's something that you think is not correct, stand up for yourself, stand up for your values, and don't do it, okay? I've had occasions with bride and groom where I've had to tell them to cool down, that I wasn't comfortable with how they were acting in front of me, and I've done that. And I'll tell you what I did one time, which was one of the, it's funny saying this in front of like 150 people, but I think, what was I going to say? I think one of the things that I did, one of the best things I've ever done in my life was I went through my website and I deleted pictures that I felt weren't modest, according to what I perceive as modest and according to my value system. And I deleted like some of the most fantastic pictures I've ever taken. And it was so hard. I can't tell you, it was so hard. But I did it and it made me feel so good. I can't tell you. It was hard, but usually the hardest things are what make you feel the best. You spend a lot of time making powerful cropping edits to make the balance of an image more powerful. To achieve this, do you take the image of the subject with more background on all 4 sides so that you'll have room to crop based on the direction of the tension? Or do you manage to pay attention to that while you're shooting? Yeah, I pay attention to that while I'm shooting, basically. How do you prevent a background from completely going white when trying to get the correct exposure for the subject on a sunny day? There is 2 answers to that. One is a rubbish answer and one is a great answer. The rubbish answer is shoot RAW. Okay, RAW will give you more leeway than a JPEG to be able to bring light back. But the best answer is Flash. Get involved in Flash. Learn how to use Flash. You can join our Flash course, which is amazing, in my opinion. And that will help you do that. But that's like we learned, the rules to background is comparable exposure. And as a bonus, different color. But number one, most importantly, comparable exposure. Okay. How can I take perfectly clear pictures in dark weather? As a photographer, you are bound by physics. Okay. If you don't have the light, you can't take the pictures. Simple as that. Do you recommend Canon lens 70 to 200 2.8 or the 130 millimeter f2? So the 70 to 200 I don't have. I know a lot of photographers absolutely swear by that lens, so I'm sure it's fantastic. It does make sense. It's a good focal length. The reason why I don't like it, the idea of it, is because it's so big and heavy. Somebody actually gave me the 135 millimeter f.2 lens as a gift, and I gave it away because it was just so impractical. 135 millimeters is so zoomed in that you're just like, it's just a nightmare. So I used it once and I was like, I don't want this lens. It's got no benefit to me. And I gave it away. 85 millimeters is the lens that I recommend on a full frame camera, which is a 50 millimeter on a crop frame camera. And that gives you, in my opinion, about as perfect a focal length as you can get. When is it okay for hands and feet to be cropped off in a picture? We spoke about that in the Power Insights. You can go back to that. What are the advantages of using a lens hood? Do you use it in specific situations? I always use my lens hood. Number one, it makes you look more professional because your camera ends up looking bigger. I'm not joking. Number two, if a kid goes like that to your camera, it's a little bit of extra protection. And number three, it helps a little bit with the sun, but not usually. Usually I end up putting my hand there or having an assistant. But I suppose, what's the word? Not technically. Theoretically, it should help. Okay, if you've got sunlight on the face of a child, yeah, I know I should avoid these situations. Is there any way to remove it, fix that in post? Not really, no. What do I do when my pics are not coming out pin sharp and the stats and settings are perfect? There's one of three reasons why your picture isn't sharp. Number one, your shutter speed isn't quick enough. Number two, you missed your focus on the app at the depth of field didn't allow for it. Number three, your ISO is very high and the quality of the picture has been degraded. Outside of that, I don't know of any other reasons. If anybody can think of a reason other than those three reasons, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, why you would have a non-sharp picture. A very important thing to remember in photography is there are no surprises. Okay, everything is logical, makes a lot of sense. You just need somebody who knows. So usually these questions get answered through the critiquing. Joe, you doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. When you make a black and white photo, do you provide the original copy in color or only the black and white? So generally, because I'm taking so many pictures, usually I'll be able to present two pictures that are basically the same, one in black and white, one in color, without having to like create copies and stuff like that just suck your time away. Photography is taking my life away. It takes so much time. Yep. So again, the AMP would help you with that one. I'm still a beginner, but catching on well, Baruch Hashem, and just want to be a great photographer already. Is it going to take me a long time? Is it only practice and patience I need? Which means encouragement, or tips, please. Practice is king, and staying on the course, the critiquing really makes all the difference. It really, really does. But yeah, you do need practice. And I think the best thing I could say to you is when you're looking at your pictures on the computer, articulate the issue. When a picture isn't right or isn't fantastic, speak out what is wrong with this picture. That's going to help you. Okay. How can I photograph sunset with a smartphone? It always brightens up the subject photograph. Again, you can't do much about that. Maybe you can get on some kind of manual setting, but the auto setting of the camera is going to mess that up for you. That's for sure. How can I get the best coloring for an indoor or outdoor photo when the lighting indoors is very yellow or when it's cloudy outside? The answer to that question is flash. Okay. How do you get the, oh, sorry, thanks to these. Today, I've not been able to participate. I'm enjoying the recordings. I should have deleted that. How to get the lighting right, join the masterclass, okay? When I take a photo shoot, I give my client only a certain amount of pictures depending on how much they pay. Yeah, I want them to choose which ones they want. How do I go about it so that it looks professional and they can't steal the other pictures? The reason why I included this comment is because the way you wrote that just made me feel that you're not treating your clients properly. You're looking at your clients as your opposition when they're not your opposition. I'm not going to tell you the answer to this question. I just want to, this is a much more involved question. It's a very technical question, but I think that you've got a fundamental mistake here, looking at your clients as your opposition. Okay, your clients are your best friends. They are your employees, your employers. They employ you. They are where your money comes from. I would never phrase that like that. Does every picture need to be edited? No, but generally you do. How do you know when you're done editing? Yeah, that's a hard one, and you just have to know when to say enough is enough. I think generally spending more than 20 seconds on an edit is a mistake. Generally, you can keep that as some kind of benchmark. Where are we holding for time, Joe? Yeah,
I think we're a bit over this. Just very quickly, lots and lots of people. I don't know if you can sum it up in a 30 seconds, but if you could just, your AMP course, lots of people are asking about what it is, and I know you touched upon it a lot, but I guess in...
Yeah, 1 second, Joe, that's a good question. I'm going to finish with the Q&A, so let me just get rid of my screencast, and I'll make me big. Okay, the AMP is the Accelerator Mentorship Program that we offer. It is a all-inclusive class where we teach you flash photography. We teach you, we take you further in post-production and in natural light photography. We go much deeper into Photoshop, etc. And then I think most importantly is we actually build you, we build your business for you, we create your website, we brand you, we teach you slideshows, we show you how to deal with your clients, how to present all your pictures. We give you the template emails, the fonts, the everything. It's the whole package. It's by invite only. Once you've completed the masterclass, you cannot join our AMP without having gone through the masterclass. But it's really the entire package that puts you in business. I think in my estimation, it saves you about 8 years. That's my thoughts on that AMP. Yeah, Joe?
That's impressive.
Not bad, mate.
8 years in life, that would be very nice.
The point is, it basically gives our students a business within 8 years, within 3 to 6 months, depending on how quickly they do the course. That would take generally about 8 years to achieve that. We have all techniques to build your client base, etc., etc. Yeah, Joe.
People have also asked how much it is.
So the AMP retails at $4,200, but like I said, it's all to do with it's not A&P, it's AMP, the Accelerator Mentorship Program. But like I said, you do have to be invited to it. We only take on people who we really know for sure we can give you what we're promising to give you. Joe, we done?
I think we are. Thank you so much for giving another fantastic webinar. I think the fact that you still got 130 people tuned in after an hour and 40 minutes is a real testament. So nice one, Shmuel.
Just finished my whiskey. Joe, thank you. You're always amazing, and your smile inspires me, like we said. And thank you to Daniel for letting you go for the evening, and thank you to Josh and Rivka always. You guys are always amazing. I hope Rivka's doing all right with the baby, and to all of our students out there. It's just like I say every time, it's just it just feels so special to be a part of this. I feel really I really appreciate that.
Do you want to just let everyone know when your next webinar is going to be?
Just give me a heads up. You want to do it again in 2 weeks, everybody? We're going to do this again in 2 weeks. I'm up for it. Yeah,
I think
what do
so.
you think? Oh, by the way, I'll wait a quick thing. I forgot to say thank you to R. Katz. I don't know who that is. Malky Friedman, Rivka Benowitz, Devori Taub, Rivka Neyman, Ayala Shooter, and Malky Oberlander. You are people who, the people who came into the course, into the webinar, mentioned you. I can't stress, like because my photography business is all based on Americans or people from outside of Israel, tourists coming into Israel. Because of Corona, my photography business literally closed down. So this is my business. This is really providing me. So bringing more people in to this webinar is so important for me, I can't tell you. So thank you for everybody who put themselves out and brought in more people. But please don't stop here. I'm putting in a lot into preparing all this, and I'm like exhausting myself actually giving it over. So please continue to tell your friends and to spread the word. And thank you to everybody. You're all amazing, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Okay, Joe, Josh, all good?
Nice one.
Good
Bye,
night,
Shmuel. Bye,
everybody.
Josh. Bye, Rivka.
Love
Bye,
and
everybody.
focus.